What is up, fellow college students? The next poem is going to be The Walrus and the Carpenter by Lewis Carroll. Before I start reading this poem, I just want to reach out to you guys, let you guys know I have nobody requesting anything right now at the moment. So if you need something read, reach out to me. I'll give you guys details on that later. Right now I'm just kind of guessing what you guys might need by just like Google searching college this and college that. I think my turnaround time, it's safe to say, is 24 hours. So if you guys make a request, within 24 hours, I should be able to get it out. Granted that it's not like a super long short story or something like that. All right. So this is The Walrus and the Carpenter by Lewis Carroll. The sun was shining on the sea, shining with all his might. He did his very best to make the billows smooth and bright. And this was odd, because it was the middle of the night. The moon was shining sulkily, because she thought the sun had got no business to be there after the day was done. "It's very rude of him," she said, "to come and spoil the fun." The sea was wet, as wet could be. The sands were dry, as dry. You could not see a cloud, because no cloud was in the sky. No birds were flying overhead. There was no birds to fly. The Walrus and the Carpenter were walking close at hand. They wept like anything to see quantities of sand. "If this were only cleared away," they said, "it would be grand. If 7 maids with 7 mops swept it for half a year, do you suppose," the Walrus said, "that they can get it clear?" "I doubt it," said the Carpenter, and shed a bitter tear. "Oh, oysters, come and walk with us," the Walrus did beseech. "A pleasant walk, a pleasant talk, along the briny beach. We cannot do with more than 4, to give a hand to each." The eldest oyster looked at him, but never a word he said. The eldest oyster winked his eye, and shook his heavy head, meaning to say he did not choose to leave the oyster bed. The 4 young oysters hurried up, all eager for the treat. Their coats were brushed, their faces washed, their shoes were clean and neat. And this was odd because, they hadn't any feet. For other oysters followed them, and yet another 4. And thick and fast they came at last, and more and more and more. All hopping through the frothy waves and scrabbling to the shore. The Walrus and the Carpenter walked on a mile or so. And they rested on a rock conveniently low, and all the little oysters stood and waited in a row. "The time has come," the Walrus said, "to talk of many things, of shoes and ships and sealing wax, of cabbages and kings, and why the sea is boiling hot, and whether pigs have wings." "But wait a bit," the oysters cried, "before we have our chat, for some of us are out of breath, and all of us are fat." "No hurry," said the Carpenter. They thanked him much for that. "A loaf of bread," the Walrus said, "is what we chiefly need. Pepper and vinegar, besides, are very good indeed. Now, if you are ready, oysters dear, we can begin to feed." "But not on us," the oysters cried, turning a little blue. "After such kindness, that would be a dismissal thing to do." "The night is fine," the Walrus said. "Do you admire the view?" "It was so kind of you to come, and you are very nice," the Carpenter said. "Nothing but, cut us another slice." "I wish you were not quite so deaf. I've had to ask you twice." "It seems a shame," the Walrus said, "to play them such a trick, after we've brought them out so far, and made them trot so quick." The Carpenter said, "Nothing but, the butter's spread too thick." "I weep for you," the Walrus said. "I deeply sympathize." With sobs and tears, he sorted out those of the largest size, holding his pocket handkerchief before his streaming eyes. "Oh, oysters," said the Carpenter, "you've had a pleasant run. Shall we be trotting home again?" But answer came there none. And this was scarcely odd, because they'd eaten every one. The end. That was The Walrus and the Carpenter by Lewis Carroll. And for those of you guys who haven't figured it out, this was actually from Alice in Wonderland. But this is the poem. I think they illustrated it in the movie. In the book, Through the Looking Glass, Tweedledee and Tweedledum had recited it. But I think in the movie, the cartoon adaptation anyway, they just kind of watched it happen. Anyway, you guys can reach out to me. Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, YouTube, Instagram. You can leave your comments. iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, Google Play. Those are all podcast platforms we're on. And if I'm not on your podcast platform, please let me know. Some of these platforms, the red tape takes like 2 to 3 weeks to get through. So the sooner you let me know, the better. All right? I'll see you guys all later. Goodbye, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe.